The fastest. 2006 Bugatti Veyron 16.4 test. Casual take. You know a car is special when even the guy making your frappuccino knows the specs. That's exactly what happened when I stopped at Starbucks wearing a Motor Trend cap. The barista looks at me and says, "You must be driving something cool tonight, right?" I tell him it's a Kia minivan. Hey, it has a DVD player for the kids. But then I casually drop, "We're testing a Bugatti Veyron next week." Suddenly, the blender stops. He rattles off. 16 cylinders. 4 turbos. 1,000 horsepower. Costs $1 million. 250 miles per hour. I just stood there nodding. Apparently, the Veyron's fame has gone way beyond the car nerd crowd. This thing is Paris Hilton with all-wheel drive. Everyone's heard of it. That fame is thanks to some genius PR. When ex-VW boss Ferdinand Piëch announced that Bugatti's comeback car would have 1,000 horsepower and a top speed of 253 miles per hour, the numbers alone made headlines. If he'd said 750 horsepower and 187 miles per hour, it would have been just another supercar. But 1,250. That sticks in people's minds. Of course, promising insane numbers is one thing. Actually delivering them is a nightmare. That much power creates mountains of heat that need to be dumped through exhausts and radiators. And braking 250 miles per hour means you're wrestling with brutal aerodynamic forces. It's like Piëch handed his engineers a Rubik's Cube and walked away laughing. 3 years later, the solution rolled out. 2 Veyrons, both two-tone, they all are. One silver and white for photos, one black and gray for testing. On paper, it's built like a piece of jewelry, carbon fiber monocoque, aluminum and stainless steel, and a footprint not much bigger than a Porsche 911. Styling? That's subjective. It's not a classically beautiful E-Type Jaguar, but like the old Bugattis, it's an intricate sculpture that grows on you. And then there's the engine, 8.0 liters, W16 layout, basically 2 narrow-angle V8s fused together, 4 turbos, and direct injection. Officially it's 1,001 horsepower at 6,000 RPM and 922 lb-ft of torque, though whispers say it's closer to 1,100. Power goes to a 7-speed DSG paddle-shift box that bangs gears in 0.15 seconds, with all-wheel drive managed by a Haldex system. Start it up and it's more of a deep, thunderous rumble than a shriek. The cabin is old-school luxury meets sci-fi. Leather, Alcantara, polished aluminum, and a slightly retro vibe. The coolest gauge? A power meter that goes to 1001. Launch mode is where things get wild. Brake held, launch button pressed, throttle floored, the revs hold at 3,000. Release the brake, and the Veyron teleports. 0 to 60 miles per hour happens in 2.7 seconds. There's zero wheel spin, it just goes. At 30 miles per hour, it's already pulling nearly 1 G. The quarter mile flashes by in 10.4 seconds at 140 miles per hour. At around 137, the suspension lowers itself, the nose dips slightly, and the rear wing rises. The thrust doesn't fade, it feels like it could just keep going forever. 200 miles per hour? 250? Who knows? It's surreal. On VW's private Aeroletion track, you can insert a special key that puts the car into top speed mode. The rear wing flattens, diffusers close, suspension drops again, and it'll run the full 253 miles per hour. In normal, handling, mode, it's capped at only 233. Braking from high speed is just as dramatic. Above 120 miles per hour, hit the brakes and the rear wing pops up like an airbrake at 55 degrees. Even without that, the carbon ceramic stoppers haul the 4,500-pound car from 60 to 0 in just 103 feet. That's over 1.1 G of deceleration, in something that weighs as much as an SUV. Handling? It pulls 0.96 G in corners and feels balanced, but the steering is lighter than you'd expect. Quick, yes, but not hypercommunicative like a Lotus Elise. Around tight bends, it behaves more like a refined GT than a twitchy race car. By the end of testing, we had shattered records and confirmed that the Veyron really is the ultimate straight-line rocket. But is it a real Bugatti? The brand has been revived before, with mixed results, but this time feels different. VW didn't just slap a badge on a car, they rebuilt Bugatti's historic home and museum, right down to the chateau and orangery, and created a machine worthy of the legend. And maybe it's fitting that it took Ferdinand Porsche's grandson, Ferdinand Peach, to bring Bugatti back, considering Porsche's race cars once helped push Bugatti into decline. Now, decades later, the tables have turned, and Bugatti is back at the top.